It's a wonderful Monday, and it's the start of the business week as we know it. Of course, new month, second day in the month of February. I'm Uya Agumofwegbe with huge delights. We welcome you to this edition of Global Morning. This is Global Television. We're live in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. This morning, Juma had to pick colors that are so very, if you like, appealing, colors that are so welcoming, colors that you would know for a fact that she took her time. She was intentional. You know that emoji that goes like this with precision. Juma, it's so good to see you. Happy New Month.
Happy New Month, and it's great to be here. And of course, I am Juma Manson, and it's great to be here, by the way. This month is a very special month.
I can't.
It's a very special month. It's my birthday month, of course. My birthday is on Friday, so 6th. It's a very special month. And funny enough, my mind didn't tilt towards the color.
The color thing, right?
The color thing, of course, Valentine's Day and all of that, but my mind didn't tilt towards that. I just wanted to wear red. So.
And here we are.
It's a beautiful day.
It is.
Done.
You know, I was talking to a colleague this morning. I said, look, time is moving really fast. I mean, it's the second month of the year already.
Yes, it is.
The other day we were in between 2025 and 2026. Today, all of that is history.
It's history, and it just shows how time flies when it comes to. Before we were actually talking about the festivities, and now we are in the second day of the year. So it's a second month, and of course the second day of that same month. And it's an amazing feeling. It shows that. When there is life, there is hope. We should be grateful for what we have, and we should never look at the past. Try and improve on the future and see how best you can push your best foot forward. It's very important. So all the same, we're grateful for life. It's February, yes, and we're grateful for life.
We sure are. Yesterday there was a sad incident. About the story that broke regarding a young, promising musician. Poets who we understand we have now lost to snake bites.
Very unfortunate incident. And because of the program, I'm going to be talking about it. A concerned Nigerian. She is an optimization expert. She'll be coming in here and talking about how some hospitals are really lackadaisical. And we as Nigerians, we ignore the basics. These are things that are important. We just think of other illnesses like malaria, typhoid. We think about hepatitis. We don't think about common ones that could actually happen. Scorpion bite, snake bite. What are the antidotes to quickly salvage that situation? We forget that these things can actually kill someone. Scorpions are dangerous. Snakes are dangerous. You'd be surprised the venom from maybe the wall gecko. It's dangerous, but we do not have antidotes, or we do not have a cure or something that can actually prevent that from being into a death situation. It's just unfortunate, really. It's a very sad one. I think due to carelessness, I would say, from the hospital, and we as Nigerians taking precautionary measures when it comes to issues like this. And that's why we need to delve into it and cause that awareness for people to understand that these things are real and they are deadly. And we should try as much as possible to safeguard our terrain, not just when it comes to insecurity, but little things like these actually matter. Right,
so they do. Like Juma mentioned, we'll be talking about all of this in detail. Looking at the different angles and the factors driving this sort of very unpleasant and unfortunate, well, some of us would say avoidable sort of incident. All right, so much to talk about on the program today. We'll take a quick break. The rest of its return shortly. Stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us, everyone. It's a new week, but some of the old things that happened must also be discussed in the course of the program today. We're seeing increase in defections of governors from other parties to the ruling All Progressives Congress. The latest one now being that of Taraba State's Governor Kefas Agbu, who has just joined the ranks or the fold of the APC. Of course, before that, we saw Kano State Governor moving from NNPP to the APC. There are those who say that what the APC and President Bola Tinubu want to do is turn Nigeria into a one-party state. But others say, no way, you can't turn Nigeria into a one-party state. It's not possible. In fact, we saw a former chief of staff to former president, now deceased, Muhammadu Buhari, talking about Professor Gambari the other time, just a few days ago. He was talking during an interview, and he said, look, yes, it may look so, but you can't at this point turn Nigeria into a one-party state. And it raises the question of what is the motivation for the governors who are moving. We have seen all the governors who come out and they say, look, I'm moving because I want to connect my states to the federal, to the center, as they say. Mm-hmm. Others say, we're moving because there's so much of, if you like, turbulence, in my party. Mm-hmm. And the constitution is clear that if you have irreconcilable differences in your party, you are free to, go pitch your tent as well.
Very true. Mm-hmm. But of course, this in one nipping this in the bud is all about politics and what actually will favor you or the individual who is defecting from one party to another. And with all of these things that you have stated, it's only clear that if your party is having issues, you can defect. And like people say, you want to go close to where it's happening. Right. And in Pigeon Palace, or like I say local palace, follow who no road. So that is what is basically happening right now with politicians. But politicians are unpredictable.
Right.
So you do not know what is actually going on. You just have to sit back and not get lured or carried away by all of these drama that is unfolding. We call it drama because at the long run, we'll actually see the true colors of these individuals, whether they have the right intent or not, or whether they're just doing it for their own selfish interest, selfish gain. It will definitely play out because there's no smoke, they say, without fire. But at the long run, let's just see, for more governors who are defecting to other political parties, let's just see how well this actually plays out and see what this is all about, really, and what happens. Of course, 2027 is around the corner. So when I say it's far, but at the same time it's near.
No, not as far as we think.
Not as far as we think. Campaigns will start being ongoing and all of that. But let's just see how far. But really, someone's telling me, do you actually take politicians seriously? Or do you know what this is all about?
But that's the irony, Juma. If we do not take them seriously, would that not, to a large extent, also indicate that we do not take ourselves seriously? Because these are the people who will formulate policies, who are expected to drive those policies, who are expected to be held accountable, ideally, for the outcomes of those policies and how they are implemented. You have to say, well, let's not take them seriously. Would that not be a case of being penny wise, pound foolish?
But at the same time, it's not back in the day where we believed these politicians and we cared about what they said, what they did,
all the promises they made,
promises in the manifestos and all of that. Nigerians were very gullible at that point. But now, Nigerians are now becoming aware of what is happening. I have a say. My vote, it counts. It makes a difference. So now, Nigerians will not be carried away by the fact that one politician is defecting because he feels that, quote and unquote, he wants to make the lives of individuals better, his own constituents, or whatever he thinks he's doing and all of that. We're becoming more awake that we will not take your words to book. We'll be sure of what you're doing. We want to see your records. What have you done? What impacts have you made? What lives have you touched? What have you done in your state? What have people benefited from? So we won't take you seriously because we already have your records. And you cannot tell us that 4 years is a long time. You cannot make any difference when it's like a year to a particular election and you want to be re-elected. No, we're going to look at your records and other people who are more competent to fit in that particular shoe in which you are wearing. So Nigerians are becoming awake. It's not penny wise and pound foolish. We're aware. We now know the length in which these individuals can go for this particular interest in which they have. So like I said, we're becoming more awake. We now know that we have a say. Our vote counts, and we know that there's something called track records. It's very important. Scorecards are there. So you actually know, except if you are not, tired of what is going on in your own part of the state and all of that. But Nigerians, believe me, they are well awake and they know what's up, and they know that some politicians who do not have the best interests of we Nigerians at heart, I don't think they'll be re-elected, except if something else goes wrong. But Nigerians are becoming awake.
Hopefully nothing goes wrong.
Hopefully nothing goes wrong.
Especially now that we hear that the National Assembly is also making a priority of a review of the Electoral Act 2022. But
very true.
Yeah, away from all of that, the the continuous voter registration, CVR, is on. By way of coincidence of some kind, there are elections on the 21st of February in Abuja, across the area councils, all 6 of them. We've seen all of the contestants, quite a number of them. We understand like 17 political parties are throwing their hats in the ring, quite a number, several hundreds of contestants, local government chairmen, then you have, of course, the councillors and all the others. This, again, will be a test of whether let's just not say Nigerians generally, but let's say those who are based here at the federal capital are ready to see a change, to move from complaining to taking action, or
Very
as
true.
we often say,
Very
taking
true.
their destinies in their own hands.
It's very important, and that is why elections, it concerns both the politicians and we, the individuals, because we are the ones that actually call the shots.
Right.
We didn't know that at first. We felt, because he's an individual who is high up there, so he calls the shot. No. The power is with you as an individual. And here in the FCT, it's very important that people take in that power, because there's a lot to be done. I was with a friend yesterday, and someone said something. We saw one of these individuals in Abuja contest, and he was like, look at this guy, he's contesting again when he didn't even do anything. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, he didn't do anything. And we all know that if he thinks he's going to come back, he's wasting his time. Like I said, we're all becoming awake, and we all know these things. So it's very important that once you are in an office, do the needful. Like you always say, we're not asking for too much. Even the basics, which is it's a right, not a privilege. Are you kidding me? Someone says I keep saying like, are you kidding me? But that's the truth. But really, if you do the basics, you have no cause to worry. You'll be loved by individuals. You'll be loved by the people. But I think a lot needs to be done in making an impact once you're in a public, you are in a place of appointment. It's very important.
You can't take that away. Well, we'll be also bringing you motivation this morning, some sort of inspirational courtesy of Ramsey Enoch Agbo. All right, but all of that will be after this break. Please stay with us.
Well, my name is Ramsey Enoch, and it's good to have you join us today on Heart to Heart Inspirationals. And let's get you inspired, because we value you. You are very important. You mean so much to this generation. Do you know why? Because if anything happens to you on this journey of destiny, it means something has gone wrong with a generation, because you are a potential destiny helper. But then, what step are you taking? All right? Where are you? What are you doing? My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Small steps still move forward. We love big breakthrough. A lot of people want to be big men overnight. They just wake up overnight and they want to be big men, not knowing what it takes to be a big man, to be a big woman. Breakthroughs are things that we are supposed to enjoy, but then, does it just fall from heaven? No. One thing we need to understand is that there are things we need to do to really be successful in life. How much work are you putting into yourself? We need to know that life has so much for us. The truth is this: we love big breakthrough, yeah, that's true, but we underestimate small obedience. Small obedience. And that's the reason you see a lot of people make resolutions and they don't keep to it. You see a lot of people do their to-do list for the day and they are not keeping it. Discipline and obedience to small things. You know, little foxes that destroy the vine. You may think those things are small, they don't matter. But then it makes you accelerate. It makes you move forward in life. We celebrate overnight success, but ignore daily discipline. How many people are disciplined today? Even CEOs, they are not disciplined today. A lot of people are not disciplined today. Business owners are not disciplined today. A lot of people have eaten their capitals. Yes, a lot of people. I know of people who ate their capitals. Some even went into debt. These are people that were making millions. I know. I'm not talking abstract. These are people that I know. Where are they today? What happened? Discipline. I've even walked to someone before to say, hey, come on. Do you know what? I know it's your business. I know it's your company. I know you are in charge. But then, instead of just putting your hand into the business money and taking out of it every day, place yourself on salary. Be a salary earner. Let the business pay you. Oversee it. Let it pay you. You don't just wake up without discipline. Oh, you have a need. Bam. Accountant. Yes, sign this check. No. It's not done. Discipline is very important if you want to be successful in life, if you want to make progress in life. Discipline is very important, not just discipline alone. Obedience and discipline go hand in hand, all right? You need to be obedient, all right, and you need to be disciplined. Yet, I want to let you know that nothing great happens suddenly. It happens consistently. Consistency is key. Whatever you're doing. Okay, let me give you an instance. Why do you think anywhere you go to look for a job, whatever you want to do, people look for someone who have experience? Because the more consistent you are on a particular thing, the more professional you become. But a lot of people, because of the issue of diversification, multiple sources of income and all of that, these theories have made a lot of people not to concentrate on a particular thing, not to be consistent in doing one thing and become a professional in it. A lot of people are slaving today because they were not consistent in what they were doing. A lot of people are not employable today because of inconsistency, disobedience, and indiscipline. Three major issues: indiscipline, disobedience, and inconsistency. These are thieves of time. Progress, like they said, is not always loud. It's not loud. Sometimes it looks like getting up again. Sometimes it looks like staying committed, all right, when nobody is clapping. A lot of people. That's why, initially I talked about on Heart to Heart, before I've talked about social media. Everybody want to be clapped for these days. Everybody is going on social media to live a fake life because they want to be clapped for. Oh, of what profit is it? It's deception. You're deceiving yourself. I only pity people who copy this online so-called designed people who design themselves to be what they are not. People must not clap for you all the time. Don't wait for the clapping. Don't wait for people to clap for you. Sometimes when walking towards your successful days may not require people clapping for you, or sometimes growth feels boring because when it gets, people don't like work. That's the truth. A lot of people don't like work. So sometimes when you're walking, it looks boring. When you are striving to be successful in life, sometimes it looks boring because it's just like you're driving on the road and it's only you on that road. You're going, no car is coming from behind, no one is overtaking you. You're just going, only you. Sometimes it looks boring. But boring is where mastery is built. Do not despise small beginnings. Small steps compounds. Small habits accumulate, and of course, small disciplines create massive outcome. Just be consistent in it. Every expert you see today was once a beginner who refused to stop because so many things happen to stop them. When you're starting a business from the scratch, it is very difficult. If you are not consistent, disciplined, and obedient, you run away. Yes, of course. That period, that growing, that incubation period, if you're not careful, you run away. A lot of people have run away from businesses like that. Then when other people start doing it, enduring that boring moment, that lonely moment, then when they come out successful, they say, well, why did I even leave that business? Because you were not consistent, disciplined, and of course obedient to the rules of the game. Success have a rule. It has a rule. Yes, you need to abide by the rules of the game before you become successful. Breakthrough don't just happen overnight. That kind of breakthrough that you're looking for doesn't last. Yes, a dribbling tap can fill a bucket over time. Don't you know? Provided there is consistency, it's dripping. All right, let me give an instance. For instance, you get to the hospital and they give someone drip, all right? There is drip on a patient in the hospital. You see the way it drops. Pim, pim, pim. It will appear as if it's never going to get finished. But just give it a time. That drip will finish. Everything will finish into the patient's body. But it's dripping. It takes patience. All right? Not because the drops are big, but because they are consistent. It's dropping. Because of the consistency, whatever you're doing, please ensure to be consistent. If you really want to make it, if you really want to succeed, focus on the progress, not the perfection. Celebrate effort, not just outcomes. Show up when motivation is low. You might not see. Let me tell you something. A lot of people don't celebrate upcomings. That period where you are struggling to be successful, when you're struggling to grow, a lot of people just look at the ignore. Some will not even take you serious. And that's why you need to be careful the kind of relationship you keep. I pity for people who push aside people that were with them when they were in their incubation period, when they were trying to become successful in life, the people that encourage them. Somebody may not even give you all the money, but the encouragement coming is enough. Consistency turns into ordinary actions into extraordinary results. Yes, by the time you're consistent, it turns ordinary action into extraordinary results. All right, keep going. Small steps taken daily will carry you further than big intentions that was never acted upon. A lot of people have big dreams, but they never acted on it. Where are they today? They are nowhere to be found. Well, you need to dream big and you need to act on the big dream, no matter how small, on a daily basis. Be consistent, be obedient, and of course, what else? Be faithful to whatever it is you're doing. Many thanks. I'll come on your way again. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Bye-bye for now.
All right, let's turn to the papers quickly. First off, we have the Daily Trust newspaper. Incidentally, the Daily Trust has just a headline for you. That's the big one. It says, Tinubu abroad, 22 days in 1 month. By some estimates, Peter Obi said the president has only stayed in Nigeria for 8 days in January of this year. I mean, since 2026 started, but the year is still early. Let's see what other plans the president has in terms of spending time with his people in the country. But again, that's just the only headline you have on the front page of Daily Trust newspaper. Juma will take us through the bunch of headlines you have on the Punch newspaper now.
All right, now the Punch newspaper with some very punchy headlines now. And above the nameplate, it says, coup. I was marked for arrest, assassination. That's from the defense minister, of course, Christopher Musa there. And that's on page 16, and go out and get yourself a copy and read that up. DHQ faces heat as military personnel bypass airport checks, and that's on page 2. And on page 8 on the Punch, it says health workers strike grounds hospital. And beside the nameplate, the Punch, it says here, Ogun Ondo in fresh battle over oil-rich boundary island. And that's on page 9. Now the star story on the Punch says, travels, presidency spends 34 billion naira on Forex in 2 years. And the rider reads, foreign trips, aircraft maintenance costs fall as FX pushes plunge 83% in 2025. And that's on page 2. Now below the nameplate, it says Osun Assembly APC chairman clash over LG funds. That's on page 8. Makoko demolitions, Lagos Assembly to meet community leaders Tuesday. And on page 36 on the Punch, it says Oando records 3.2 trillion naira revenue amid oil production surge. And that's all the major headlines making rounds on the Punch newspaper. Please go out and get yourself a copy to be well abreast with issues making rounds. Next, we have The Guardian. Over to you, Uyi.
All right. Well, we'll begin with the one on the top left corner with a picture of President Bola Tinubu there. It says, Obi faults Tinubu on multiple foreign trips, 2027 agenda on news page 3. Tinubu's reforms saved 27 states from collapse, says Minister, actually was the Minister of Information and National Orientation who made that statement over the weekend. House defends delay in passage of Electoral Act Amendment Bill. And then the star headline, Nigerians turn to survival businesses as formal jobs dry up. The writer says Nigeria's informal economy is still largely young and growing, of course. Then the right corner of the front page, reactivate standby force against Sahel threats, Tinubu tells ECOWAS. Header asks U.S. to sanction Nigerians linked to security funds diversion. Terrorists raise church police station in Niger. Osun Assembly vows to recover diverted local government funds. Anxiety as Soludo reopens Onitsha markets. Yes, we have a video of him where he gave that order last week, and what he has now said will happen starting from today. 2027, Atiku holds talks with ADP leaders amid Obi Kwankwaso alliance rumor. Investors, farmers lament as a Greek sector loses 5 trillion naira in 2 years. And lastly, on the foot of the front page, Oando announces 32% production growth, 3.2 trillion naira revenue in 2025. Go look up those details from the Guardian newspaper today as we flip over to the Vanguard now.
All right, now the Vanguard newspaper, above the nameplate, it says Oando's profit up 10% to 241.3 billion naira as upstream production rises 32% in 2025. And that read you will find on page 26. Now below that, it says Gale of Defections, while Nigeria's democracy is not working, by Ibrahim Gambari, and that's on page 14. And on page 10 it says Ondo Ogun governors clash over oil well in Eba Island. And on page 9 it says again, bandit storm Niger community, raise police station, church abduct villagers. 80 Kajuru worshippers escape as bandits hold 86 in captivity. Now below the nameplate of the Vanguard newspaper, which is on page 20, says businesses buckle under debt as defaults push bad loans to 21.2 trillion naira. And the rider reads, high interest rates, FX shocks, end of COVID, forbearance triggers spike in corporate loan failures. And like I mentioned before, you can get that read on page 20. Now on page 5 of the Vanguard, 2027 polls, fear of postponement looms over delayed electoral law. And on page 10, it says Samuel Olu to youths, participate in politics before it's late. And that's advice from the Lagos State Governor there to the youths. And that read you will find on page 10. On page 26, it says Osun Assembly vows to recover all diverted LG funds. Okay. And on page 31, which is the sports page, it says 2030 World Cup. Super Eagles begin qualifiers June, CAF confirm date. And basically, those are the major headlines on the Vanguard newspaper. Got to get yourself a copy to be well abreast with major issues making rounds. Next, we have the Nigerian Tribune. Over to you now,
All right, thank you, Jimai. Top right, it says concern over, let's see what it says there. It says concerns over huge cash outside banking system despite surge in digital transactions. And then what's more, it says free meters. Distribution companies defy minister's directive, focus on banned customers. Osun Assembly vows to recover all diverted local government funds, restates oversight, legislative power over local government areas. Well, that's more like a syndicated story this morning. West African leaders meet in Ghana, agree on regional security framework, with the rider that says region now global epicenter of terrorism, violence, extremism. Right? Left corner of it, oil spill. Ijaw youth threatened to shut down oil facilities. Not again. And then when you go further, it says oil discovery at Eba. Ogun government reaffirms jurisdiction, cites legal historical evidence. Oyo National Park Office, police arrest 7 suspects. My team will continue where I stopped in 2027, Makinde, as Peter Obi, Lord's Governor for uplifts of states. Labour Party holds congresses in March. Oti Usman urged Abure others to sheath swords, seek reconciliation. Party wishes Obi well in ADC. Your victory is temporary. Abure's camp replies. Read up all of those dramatic details on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune today as we turn things over to the Daily Sun newspaper.
All right, now the Daily Sun newspaper, beside the nameplate, it says LP Usman-led NWC hails INEC over recognition. And the rider reads there, wishes Obi well in new party, set up reconciliation committee. And that you will find on page 28. Now it says, CPPE warns of looming crisis as food price slumps hurts Nigerian farmers. Okay, for as much as there's been a drastic fall in when it comes to food in the market, but there should be a balance because it's not easy. These farmers actually bought their seedlings at a very high price, and now it's time to harvest and gain, and now it's affecting them when it comes to gain, when it comes to this food product. It's just unfortunate. I think we should find a balance to it and let this
between making it affordable for consumers,
exactly,
and then also ensuring that farmers do not run at a loss.
Exactly, not running at a loss. It's very, because really it's not fair. They really bought all of their seedlings and all of that at a very high rate. You know what the economy was saying back then, but at the same time, there should be a balance, really. It's very important. It shouldn't be one-sided. Now, the Star Story reads, outrage over insistent electricity grid failures. Are we surprised? No, we're not. And it says, experts blame TCN NISO for deep-rooted system lapses. Now, 676 billion naira spent on diesel in 6 months. And that read you will find on page 21. Now, below the foot of the Daily Sun, it says, again, terrorists abduct church worshippers in Niger. And the writer says, burn police station, church, cart away food items. But food items are not expensive. Why are they taking food? So that's on page 4.
One man's meat, right?
One man's meat is another man's poison. And on page 5, it says, Kajuru abduction, 80 captive, escape, return home. Village head Dan Azumi. And it says here, Osun Assembly vows to recover diverted LG funds, and that's on page 26. And on page 29, it says communal war. We've lost 75 persons, and that's from Eboin community. Very sad there. There's nothing like peace, settle things amicably. It's just the way forward.
The governor was forced to take a very decisive step about it now.
Yes, it's just unfortunate, but hopefully the needful is done. And that is all on the Daily Sun. Please go out and get yourself a copy to be well abreast with major issues on the headlines making round. Next, and fortunately, Okay, we have.
That's be the last.
No, we have one more
Daily
paper.
Independent paper.
Over to you, Uyi.
All right, let's go there. Again, above the name master price, tight monetary policy. Banks lend more to governments, less to businesses for obvious reasons, right? It's more secure, more guaranteed that government will pay than for businesses because of volatility. APC e-registration, ADC alleges forced registration of civil servants. We saw those allegations on the news yesterday in particular, saying that there are governors who are now tying membership registration of the APC to salary payments. We do hope that's not true. All right, let's say the big one. Bank recapitalization deadline. Pressure mounts for extension as mid-tier lenders flounder. Just one rider with that headline. Experts see time as biggest risk factor for weaker banks. NLC TUC set for showdown with Wike over workers' welfare. Begin mobilization for protests tomorrow. That's Tuesday. Juma, you and I were here talking about FCT protests the other time.
Yes, we were.
And now it appears if things are not, these issues are not tackled early enough, we're going back to that same scenario where there will be protests, where they probably will end up being strike and all that, because here it says that NLC and TUC are getting set for a showdown with FCT minister over workers' welfare. Why do we keep running the circles?
I've always asked that question. We keep going around in circles because mostly individuals, what they need, all their stated needs are not met, and that is why we keep going back and forth. And it's just unfortunate that we should understand that these individuals they are the engine room. Without them, nothing will work. You need them to actually put in the work for there to be success and breakthrough in whatever part you find yourself. It's just unfortunate that this is what it is, and I do not know yet with the strike. They're still not getting attention. We keep going back and forth. Their demands are not met. They keep going into strike, and then the next thing you know, they come back and say, okay, we're going to settle, and there's nothing like that. The government comes out and says this. It's just unfortunate that this is what it is, and it's the same circle. Like, you can actually write a book about it. You can predict the next move. I think they should try something different to get the attention that they need, but in all, I think their demand should be met. They're not asking for too much. Just pay us what is due to us. Pay us what it's ours. It's nothing much. They're not asking for too much. I don't think so. And once these demands are not met, it doesn't show as if we actually have concern or interest for these individuals who are putting in the works. But it's just unfortunate that this is what it is. Now, we're not talking about the health sector, for instance. That's on one hand. And now we're looking at the FC. It's just unfortunate, Uyi. It's really sad, and I'm really tired of talking about it.
I know we can't be tired incidentally, because whether you like it or not is why we're here. But I'm concerned about how that, when you talk about welfare, this is not just about salary, because salary, of course, is statutory.
Yes.
And then from a purely human angle standpoint, you've got to be concerned and show commitment to the welfare of your workers. The other time, the FCT minister was accused of abandoning the FCT and going to River State to politics. And we saw the energy he put into that. We saw the time he put into that.
Yes,
of course, we understand he's back to the FCT now.
Yes, he is.
Is it also possible that the workers themselves, alongside their unions, are blackmailing the FCT minister or the FCTA, that is the Federal Capital Territory Administration? Because sometimes that's also the issue. For example, the other time we saw the workers themselves saying that, look, we have advanced 14 points, 14 demands to the administration. Nothing has been done about any of them, not even one of them. Conversely, the administration says, look, yes, 14 concerns were advanced to us, but we have addressed 10 of them.
10 of them.
So it leaves you
Which was false, by the way.
But the question is,
the workers came out and said, no, it hasn't been addressed at all. Which was false, by the way.
So is it false because the workers debunked it? Because it appears to be more of your word against my word. None of the parties brought evidence. So somebody could have also come to say no after the work, because it was the workers that first said, we have advanced 14 demands to the Federal Capital Administration, Territory Administration. The FCTA came out to respond, to say no.
10.
There were 14, yes, but we have addressed
10.
They came and said, no, none of them have been addressed. So how do we authenticate who is saying the truth? By what metrics? By what standards do we say? I mean, beyond sentiment and biases, how do we know whether it's the FCTA that is telling the public the truth or the workers saying the truth? We have to.
Wait, they're going on strike again. So what does that tell you?
No, they could have gone on strike for anything. But we're saying let's be a bit more, if you like, dispassionate about this.
Okay.
And say, look, because these are about human beings.
Of course.
These are not just workers; they have families.
Of course.
So if you have the workers themselves saying we have 14 concerns, which is natural. People have, even in the private sector where we work, for example. But now we're talking about the public sector. You say you have 14 concerns, which is very understandable, and you put them in front of your employer, the FCTA.
Yes.
And then the FCTA says, okay, yes, we appreciate it and we acknowledge that, yes, you had submitted 14 demands, right? However, we've been able to address 10.
Yes.
Therefore, can we not make progress as we continue to address the leftover 4 items? All right? One would have thought that's fair enough. But the worker said, no, you have not addressed one, not even one of these issues. Of course, we understand it became a subject of litigation, ended up in the National Industrial Court of Nigeria. We are saying that none of them, the workers on the one hand and the FCTA on the other hand, have been able to show us proof of who is saying the truth. That's what we're saying. Of course, by nature, there's the tendency to tilt in favor of the workers. It's understandable.
No.
But you see...
But no, the thing is, no.
No, it's okay.
No, don't put me on the
It's understandable.
The truth
no, we're not alone in this. I mean, I've spoken to people who don't even work for the FCT.
But the truth is, let me say, whether you work for the FCT or not,
right,
or you fall in that particular category, whether workers or the FCT, if the FCT, they're doing the needful and the right thing, you will come out and say that, come on, 10 of your requests have been met. Calm down and let's see how further they can go with the remaining 4. But if you've not done anything, of course you will stand with the FCT. At least they are trying, at least they are empathetic, they're sympathetic, they understand your plight. And that is why 10 of those requests have been met. But looking at the side of the workers, if none have been met at all, like I said,
with a big if.
With a big if, on the probability.
Right.
Now, the truth is, passion can only stand for a certain amount of time. When you look back and you look at bills, rent, food, electricity, all of these issues.
Right.
Come on, passion will not be able to carry for too long. Really. If these workers got what was needed to them, if they actually got if their request was granted, I do not think they'll want to embark on another strike.
Sure.
And if there was a roundtable discussion, say, hey, calm down. We've given you 10 of the 14. Calm down. It will not get to this level. Really, I'm not taking sides, but the truth is, it's glaring that you can see that none of these demands have been met, and that is why there's going to be an ongoing strike.
I think what we can do at this point, perhaps, is to keep our fingers crossed and see what happens at the National Industrial Court.
Let's see.
Yes. All right, so let's go wrap it up, everyone, now on the Daily Independent newspaper for you. A few more headlines to look at. Here it says, Serap sues NNPCL over failure to account for 22.3 billion naira, $49.7 million, 14.3 million pounds, 5.2 million euros, oil money. Quite a lot of money to be accounted for
yes,
there.
It is.
But please help yourself. Look up details on page 7. Fela's Grammy reflects Africa's prominence in global music. That's credited to President Bola Tinubu in apparent response to the Grammy Award won by the late Fela Anikulapo. All right, you can read it up on page 7 as well. Okay, what more do we have here? It says, Ogoni's protest oil exploration resumption warn Tinubu of crisis. Are we exploring oil already in Ogoni? I thought we were more focused on the cleanup. Well, what do I know? Let's see what we have here. It says, structural financial barriers freeze progress on Nigeria's power grid. And then lastly, it says on the foot of the front page, Anambra reopens on its markets, assures traders of security. Well, we do hope that reopening will not hit any obstacle today. But in the meantime, those are the headlines we have from the Daily Independent newspaper. It marks the end of the newspaper review here this morning. As always, we'd like to remind you that all of the headlines we bring to you on the program are just exactly as published by the respective publishers. Global Television, as media outfits, or the team here on Global Morning does not in any way contribute to them. I will quickly turn our attention now to Anambra State, where just exactly a month ago, the governor Charles Soludo, has said to the traders in that market that, look, you can't be having sit at home on a Monday. It's not done anywhere in the world. It has several implications, including economic and social. Therefore, on account of that, he said, look, this market will be shut from today, Monday, all the way till Friday, and it will be reopened again on Monday, the 2nd of February 2026. So we are hoping the market will be reopened today, and the governor says, when we come back here and we realize that you're still observing sit at home, I may be left with no other choice than to just turn this place to a school instead. Well, those options are in front of India Nambra, as it has to do with the Champion market. But let's listen to the soundbite from the governor exactly a week ago, and then use that as a basis to project as to what will likely happen today.
Yes. And the rules are that markets are open Monday to Saturday. If you are not prepared to open your shops Monday to Saturday, then leave Anambra, go to elsewhere. Simple. Period. Okay? So, this market will be shut down for the remainder of this week. It will not be open tomorrow. It will not be open on Wednesday. It will not be open on Thursday. It will not be open on Friday. It will open again on Monday. And if we come on Monday, you want what?
You know, quite frankly, there's a part of this interaction I like where it was the governor and the traders. So there was nothing executive about it. There was nothing like A class about it. It was just me and my people. Because some persons were actually hanging on the handrails upstairs, and they were speaking Igbo, some were speaking Pidgin and what have you. But the important thing is they were trying to connect with the governor about the issue. Now it's clear for context. You have had these proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, for years, pushing this sit at home across all the 5 states, especially in places like Anambra, which many people have called the commercial hub of the Southeast.
True.
And then, of course, the group has been proscribed. But then you continue to observe sit at home across all the states, major markets. Onitsha, I mean, I grew up to know Onitsha as a major market in the Southeast.
Major market.
So how do you tell people in 2026 that you have a group that has been proscribed in a state where you have a democratically elected government?
Really? Like, you know, like we spoke about this issue last week, and we said there cannot be 2 captains in a ship. There has to be one. Right. And of course, it's the one that is known, elected, and of course voted into power by the people.
Right.
This is democracy. And we cannot have other individuals who are claimed, like some people say they're a terrorist group, invading the state and calling the shots. It doesn't make sense.
What we do know is that they are a proscribed group.
Yes, they are, but calling the shots at the same time to enforce sit at home.
It's an aberration.
It is an aberration. And the truth is, Monday is a time where things happen. It's commercial. That's why in radio they call it money-making Monday, because more transactions happen. It's like really fast. And how you start your Monday determines sometimes how you end the week. So if you're going to be at home on Monday, I don't understand what you're doing on a Tuesday, because Tuesday is supposed to be a take back. Wednesday is, you know how it is. But it's just unfortunate. But I'm glad he has put his foot down on this matter, and I hope it yields fruit. And I hope there won't be any contrary opinion or contrary action when it comes to this issue. But really, this is long overdue.
It is. And we also hope that the government of Anambra will do right by the people, ensuring that there's security, because that's one of the very core concerns that the traders themselves and indeed the people of the state have expressed, saying that, look, it is one thing for you to say, go to the market, open your shops, get your business up and running. But what happens if these criminal elements decide to attack?
Exactly.
The governor will be in Oka in his government house, won't know what is happening on the Onitsha, which is a different town altogether. But again, we do hope that beyond the rhetorics, the state government, under the leadership of Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, will do the needful on all fronts. Well, let's take a break now. When we return, it will be time to join Ogo Chukwu Mobuna on Social Bars. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Good morning, Nigerians, and good morning, viewers all around the world. It's time to look at buzzing issues making round on social media. And today we are throwing our weight on Nigerian singer who lost her life after beaten by a snake. I am Ogochukwu Mobno. All right, the Nigerian singer dies after beaten by a snake. Ifunanya Wangene, also known as Naya Music or Soprano Queen, was a popular chorister in Abuja. Sadly, she died on Saturday, January 31st, after a cobra bite her inside her room. In videos shared online, a snake catcher is seen holding a cobra that was found in the singer's room. People are heard saying there may be more snakes inside because Naya had previously complained that she saw a grown one in her house. Some unconfirmed reports on Facebook claim 2 snakes were found in her house. The Abuja Choral community have gone on Facebook to mourn her, with many insisting her death was not ordinary. Others hailed her as a real talent with a sonorous voice who was on her way to stardom. Well, we'll be taking a look at some comments. That's a huge snake, by the way, and I don't like snakes, so I don't even try to look at it. But let's take a look at some comments on social media concerning this tragic incident. And the first comment is coming from Mr. Doings. And Mr. Doings says, that's one of the most dangerous snakes in the world, and it's mostly found in the wild. How did it find its way to her house? That's a big question for something that is mostly found in the wild, not the normal snake we see around. All right, the next comment coming from Nikki's Life. And Nikki says, please, people that knows about snakes, remedies, and preventions should teach us how to prevent snakes from sticking around our houses and home remedies to keep at home in case of emergency. All right, other comments we got here were really sad comments, but yes, these were the 2 comments we picked for the sake of this incident that happened a few days ago. All right, I'm not alone in the studio as usual. I have with me Jumai Manson. Good morning, Jumai.
Good morning, Ogochukwu. It's just, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
By the way, Happy New Month.
Happy New Month, Happy
Yes.
New Month. It's a beautiful month. It's February, my birth month.
Of course, we know that.
Everyone should know.
We're waiting for that particular day. All right, this tragic incident happened a few days ago on Saturday. You know, we were trying to get into the new month, and who would have thought that this young, beautiful, vibrant lady would lose her life to a snake bite? And the very sad one is that she took herself to the hospital when this happened, and there were no antidotes in the hospital, including the Federal Medical Hospital in Abuja. I really cannot fathom how that happened, because these deaths are something that we can actually avoid. If only there were antidotes. Jumai, tell me what you think about it.
It's just unfortunate that this particular incident happened. That's to say the lackadaisical attitude when we have towards the basic things like antidotes, venom antidotes when it comes to snake bites and all of that. It's just unfortunate. We have medicines for malaria, typhoid, but when it comes to things like snake bites, not just that, there's so many scorpions and all of these are deadly, and we do not take all of these into consideration. It's just very sad that she had to just die in a very careless manner. It's just very unfortunate. It's very sad though but really, how did this snake get into her house?
Honestly,
it's interlocked. Really, it's just unfortunate. Really, very unfortunate. Although it's very sad.
It's a sad one indeed. All right, let's even move away from blaming hospitals and the government for not doing the right job by putting antidotes in the hospital in case of emergency cases like this. Let's move over to our buildings. There are so many landlords who are ready to increase rent. In fact, some of them have started increasing rent, but don't they know the word fumigation, or they don't have an idea that you have to fumigate your house at least every year?
But some people will tell you that it's you are the one living there. So some of these landlords, you cannot take some of these. Those that are godly, that really have the fear of God, I understand that, okay, it is my duty. Tell my tenants, okay, you have to go out of the house. I want to fumigate. But if you're living in a particular place, please do not wait for the landlord at the detriment of your own safety, at the detriment of your own life. It's very important that you should know, do the need, fumigate yourself if you have to, because they are reptiles. Now you can see what's happening. So I think you should take it on your own as a way of precautionary measures when it comes to issues like that. Don't wait on your landlord. And really, please do not wait on your landlord. Do what is right. Do what is needful for your own safety. Very important.
Very, very important. Thank you so much, Jumai, for your contribution. We hope that the soul of the deceased rests in peace, as we would definitely miss her. I remember one of her videos, I saw her when she sang the UEFA Champions League song, and I really enjoyed it, not knowing that I was going to be telling a story about this lady. Well, yes, once again, may her soul rest in peace. And thank you so much, Jumai Manson, for your contribution to today's topic. All right, this is where we close the curtains for Social Buzz here on Global Morning. I'll be leaving you in the hands of Uyi and Jumai as they usher us into the discussion session of Global Morning. So stay with us. Good morning once again, Nigeria and viewers around the world. I am Ogotku Mobuno. Bye for now.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Yeah, we'll continue to have this conversation regarding this young 25-year-old lady who we understand has now passed on account of snake bites. Experts, those in the field of medical sciences, say she died of very severe poisoning, of course, the venom from the snake bites. There are those who have been asking questions about how is it that somebody lives in a place such as she did, that sort of environment, and you still had to deal with snake bites. How did snakes find their way into that compound? I really don't know how to answer the question, because we're seeing the finest cities in the world, we've seen the finest houses, even in Nigeria, and people still find snakes under their couches, in kitchens, in their pantries, and things like that. So I don't think the question is about how the snakes found, their way into the compound. It's about what could we have done to salvage this situation.
Yeah, what we could have done, of course, there were no first of all, antidotes are very important. Right. We should have anti-venom antidotes in hospitals, not just snakes. There are scorpions, there are wall gecko.
Others that my friend calls creepy things.
Creepy things. We should have antidotes for all of these things. Right. I think we overlook them because we feel in this part, we're in the city, everywhere is interlocked and whatever, it's not going to come, but they do come and they do happen. But at the same time, we should understand that fumigation is very important. Right. I don't think some people can stay in houses for 5 years, they will not fumigate. And I think we should start considering that now. These are basics, and it's very important that we should do all of these things for precautionary measures. It's very important. I think as Nigerians, we're too busy with so many happening. We're trying to make ends meet. We're trying to make that money. We're trying to hustle, and we forget about these things that are precautionary measures that can help you safeguard yourself, your family, and of course your environment.
You're talking, Jomai, the whole time I'm asking myself, again, what lessons are we learning from these very unfortunate incidents, and what measures are we going to take to ensure we don't have a repeat of this, not just in Abuja, but anywhere in Nigeria, for example. All right. Since yesterday, I read people's opinions, I read comments, and everybody is saying, look, we must not continue to live this Oyibo man's life. We've got to realize that there's power in herbs, there's power in roots. These are the things that our forebears had used and it worked for them. And therefore, we should consider what works for us as Africans. And they say that some herbs, some roots here, some herb there could have saved the lives of Ifunaya if we had them. But beyond the talking, because we're always big on talking.
Yes, we are.
We must now find a systemic way of dealing with these issues. There are always going to be snakes, sadly or otherwise, but how do we manage them? Snakes are part of the ecosystem.
Yes, they are.
Yes, we want to also try. You mentioned fumigation a while ago.
Yes.
That's a basic measure we must take, and it has to be on, if you like, a frequent scheduled basis.
Yes.
Not just something you do in 2026. The next time you're going to do it is 2033.
Exactly.
Are you going to do it on a quarterly basis? Are you going to do it on a half-year basis? Are you going to do it once in a year? How frequently, how often are you going to do it? I think these are the issues we need to look at. And there have been people who say, what did the landlord do? The landlord didn't fumigate, the landlord didn't put measures in. But if you live in a house, much as you don't own it, in a sense it becomes yours.
Exactly.
All right? Because you're the one who lives there. we have so many houses in Abuja and elsewhere in this country where the landlords are not residents. So what do you do?
Exactly.
If you have a leaking roof, what do you do?
Exactly. I think that was one of the discussions I had with Ogochukwu this morning. She was like, one of the comments, what are these landlords doing? The truth is, these landlords don't care. Some of them do not actually care what you do. As long as you make, I always tell people, as long as it makes you comfortable and you are comfortable at that part, what makes you comfortable is the most important thing. You cannot be waiting. Like you said, if a landlord was living somewhere in Lagos and he has a house in Abuja and has rented it, what do you do? Will you call him, sir, I need you to please come, or send? No, he's not going to do that for you. The most important thing is his rent and maintenance. But some people, he doesn't even look towards that direction. As long as he has rented his apartment, once the year is done, he collects his rent, and that is all. You can only call him for the essentials that we can talk about. Some landlords don't even have meters in their house and they expect you to go get the meters. I don't. I have a friend of mine has that experience, and the landlord is saying, "You go and get the meter." And she was like, "Are you kidding me?" But the truth is, you have to take action on your own, as long as it makes you comfortable and as long as you are safe. Your safety is key. It doesn't matter if you see like a sockaway or something. You have to come together.
Fix it.
You have to come together. You cannot wait for your landlord, because definitely there are creepy things, like your friend will always say, that will come out and cause a much more bigger scenario. Right. So it's better you handle that on your own. So like you said, fumigation, I think it's overrated. No one takes it seriously. Why should I fumigate? Is it important? It's important that the individuals in our society are aware that fumigation is important. It is necessary, and we should take it very seriously. But unfortunately, well, for me, this whole issue would have been averted if the needful was done. If we had an anti-venom antidote in that hospital, that girl would have still be alive, I think.
There's something we are learning this morning regarding this unfortunate passing of Ifunanya. Abuja Hospital says singer Naya Wangele died of severe neurotoxic snake bites, not lack of antivenom. These are two issues. So on the one hand, we say, well, it was unavailability or absence of antivenom. But we're hearing now that experts are saying she died of neurotoxic snake bite, which means it was severe enough to take her life. So at that point, it wasn't anymore about whether you have...
So the situation couldn't have been salvaged?
At that point in time, yes. All right, because from what we read in the news now, she had all by herself taken herself to two hospitals. All right, so the question is, was she living alone? Did she have neighbors? Even if, for example, she didn't have maybe those who were living with her in the apartment or stuff like that. But in all of these now, a lot of lessons will be learned, right? If you live alone, who can you call for help? If you have just 5 minutes to survive, 5 minutes to get help, who can you call? Who is the closest person? We must look at all of those. And incidentally, we come from a place where we are very communal. But these days, you see young ladies live alone, all by themselves in the city. And if something happens, there's nobody you can call at the snap of fingers. A young lady lives all by herself in Abuja, in maybe early, mid-20s. If something happens, the closest person is somewhere in maybe Enugu, or somewhere in Delta, or somewhere in Plateau. You're now wondering, how did you all by yourself? But some people say that's the reality we have to deal with. Rural urban migration, the need for people to fend for themselves. You have to be independent. Life is tough on everyone, so you've got to find a way to slug it out on your own.
You know, you just said something. It just took me back to that incident that happened in Kano, where that woman was killed by her nephew
with her children.
With her children. It just took me aback. You know, she had neighbors all around her, and she was screaming for help, right? And they basically ignored. So where's the neighborliness in that?
Was it out of fear they did that?
I have no idea. But at the same time, I think we forget so much. We just overlook a lot of things, and we forget being our brother's keepers, because we feel, hey, I have to mind my business. Oh, let me just keep my guard. I don't want issues. But sometimes, please, sometimes we have to show empathy. We have to be sympathetic. I think a lot of things will go right if we as individuals will try as much as possible to do the needful and the right thing by showing love and care. Like if people were there to actually help this girl, she wouldn't have driven herself alone to the hospital all by her in that pain. It wasn't easy. But you see, that's the world we find ourselves now. Everyone is so subjected to it's me, it has to be me. Sometimes please come out of that and try and show that empathy and sympathy and, you know, just for the world to go round and to ensure that love still exists. It's just unfortunate that you say to yourself, the love still exists between neighbors. You'll be shocked that it doesn't. Someone might be in her neighbor, might never have spoken to her, and like the only thing he says is good morning, and that is it. But I think we should do much more than that when it comes to being united, neighborhood. Love, it goes a long way, really.
It does. You know, when you talk about neighborliness, I remember growing up, it was very commonplace for your mom to leave you in the hands of her neighbors. She didn't have to scratch her head. She didn't have to be scared or uncomfortable as to what would happen to you in her absence. In fact, I remember clearly there had been a couple of situations where I was sick of malaria at the point it was high fever, as they said. My mom had to leave me with the neighbor, and she went about her business, right? That was how much she could trust her neighbor, because at that point in time, your mom was not just your mom. You had other moms. The same way your mom was also other people's mom.
True.
So there was this collective responsibility for children, right? But in this day and age, you're even careful where you eat, what you eat, and things like that, because there's now mistrust amongst people. There's now suspicion amongst people, and that is growing by the day. And that's
there are pedophiles amongst people.
Right, exactly. Of course, that's even on the increase.
Yes.
All right, and we are appreciating what the Lagos State government is doing about pedophiles now.
Very important.
Yes, and we hope other states will also take a leave from that.
All right,
and then of course also domesticate for themselves.
Very
all right,
important.
because whether you like it or not, it has to be a collective responsibility.
Yes, it is.
So if Lagos State government can do that on that level with pedophiles, we can also do that in different other states, because pedophiles are not just based in Lagos; they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
We must take responsibility. Governments, communities, families, and individuals.
Very important.
Again, we're having this conversation on the basis of the death of Ifunanya, which is now sparking several concerns regarding how we live and the things we prioritize. Let's take a break now. The rest of the program continues shortly. Please stay with us. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
right, let's look at one of the big stories coming out of our country right now. Just last week, the Nigerian authorities, especially the military leadership, have now come out formally to say that, look, there had been a coup plot against the Tinubu-led administration. Talking about the number of officers who have now been arrested, alongside a good number of civilians as well. Now, the authorities will understand are saying that the goal was to take over government, of course, violently, and of course, topple and going forward, take out those they had already earmarked. But the good news now is that arrests have been made, and the army authorities, or the defense authorities, I should say, are now telling Nigerians that investigations have been concluded. Next will be to court-martial, and then there will also be a civil trial. Juba, you know, time and again, the army leadership has assured Nigerians, and indeed the government, that look, there will be no point in time at which the armed forces will intervene or interfere with the civil leadership. All right, so let democracy be sustained. In fact, what we're going to be doing based on our own mandate is to continue to strengthen democracy, ensure the protection of Nigeria's territorial integrity, fight off aggressors, and of course, insecurity of any kind. That's what we've been doing. But Christopher Musa, retired general himself, now Minister of Defense, has also said that, look, those who have been arrested, the officers in particular, their families will be taken care of, their wives and their children. He was giving that assurance on behalf of the federal government, which makes a lot of sense, because he says that those officers, whether they were in the Navy, in the Army, or in the Air Force, already had understood the implications, the consequences for their actions. Even though we are hearing now that some of the families are now coming out to plead with the president to say, please temper justice with mercy and things like that. Yeah, exactly. We've seen a lot of coups in Africa. We've seen in Burkina Faso, we've seen in Mali, we've seen in the Niger Republic, we've seen in Guinea, we've seen coups across this continent, especially in West Africa's sub-region. And for a country like Nigeria, because before now I've heard that, look, there can't be a coup again in Nigeria. Nigeria has outgrown that phase. It appears that's what we're saying now.
No, it appears that's what we're saying now. But at the same time, you know, like, I was just going to tilt towards the family. But for as much as they are trying to plead with the president concerning this matter, concerning their husbands and all of that, do their husbands actually understand if they would have...
The weight of it.
The weight of what would have happened if this coup would have
had gone unsuccessful.
Exactly. It would have...
Devastating, right?
I'm just trying to project the right words. I won't scare people. Do they understand the levity of what this coup would have caused in Nigeria? It's just unfortunate. First of all, we want to know why and what was the aim at. It's just unfortunate, but well, the needful should be done. They have families, but at the same time, they need to understand the weight of what this is all about. But as long as their family, they're taken care of. Right. The wife will be taken care of, the kids will be taken care of. Well, it's okay. It's fine.
It's quite interesting. And you know, coups have, Nigeria has seen several coups.
Yes, we have.
Of course, if there hadn't been coups, we'll have the governments of Murtala Mohammed, for example.
Of course.
We'll have those governments of late General Muhammadu Buhari, the likes of Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, and even Sani Abacha.
Yes.
All right. So, when you look at all of those, you realize that Nigeria has been beaten black and blue over time.
Yes, we have.
So when you hear Nigerians, when you hear people now across board say that, look, never again, we can't afford to go back. Yes, we may have issues with democracy, we may complain, we may differ, we may not align politically, but you can't take away the fact that a civil rule as we have right now will eat a military government for breakfast, lunch, and dinner any day, anytime.
Well, I'm not gonna. I don't want to really talk about this issue, but we just have to like.
But you like the breakfast and lunch and dinner time part?
No, but of course, some people will beg to differ and tell you that during the military regime, a lot of sanity actually happened because you know in the military, of course, you say they were all rigid and all of that, but at the same time. You know, things were done smoothly at the point. So some would beg to differ.
But the challenge is the military would naturally suspend the constitution.
True.
So you won't have civil courts as you do. You won't have the legislature as you do. You're not going to have governors as we know them. That means that you're going to have military administrators, civilian governors, and things like that. And everything is by decree. So Jumai cannot say, I differ with my state governor. For example, in my state, some years ago, a governor awarded a road. And something went wrong, even though we can't tell exactly what had gone wrong. And that road was re-awarded. An amazing job was done with the road. However, people said, this governor must tell us the reason the project was awarded twice. So the issue was not whether or not you did the road properly.
Exactly.
Whether you did an amazing job. It was about, tell us the circumstances that led to that decision to re-award the road. But you can't do that with the military.
Yes, of course. Like I said, it was rigid. It's not flexible as what we have now. Democracy, of course.
Right.
But I just said some. I didn't say Jumai Manson. I just said some people beg to differ and tell you why they prefer.
No, we're speaking to those some people now, so we understand where we are. It's 2026.
Well, so some individuals. But like I said, like democracy will definitely eat the military regime for breakfast, lunch. I completely agree because you know.
At dinner, it's 3 square meals. Right?
Okay, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Hope you're happy now. But you know, at the same time, for as much as now you have a say as individuals, like they say civilians, and you know they say they are bloody civilians. You know that's how it is. But at the same time, you have a say. You can actually come out. You know your rights. But you know there's a lot to be done there. But at the same time, they should understand the gravity in which, if this was successful, it would have been bloody. Really, it would have been. And I don't think Nigeria were prepared for such right now. We have a lot that we are dealing with. We have a lot. And well, thank God it wasn't. For me, I would say thank God it wasn't. But at the same time, the needful should be done. I think they should understand the gravity of what this was tilting towards. It would have been very, very bloody and bad at the same time.
But by way, I mean, that's a brilliant point you've made, Jim. By way of balancing this conversation, you know, the other time we saw coups in the Niger Republic. Before that, Mali and Burkina Faso. Most of the analysts that we brought here said, look, if you want to address the issue of coups, it's not enough for you to talk plenty. Each government on the soil of Africa must do right by their people.
True.
You must ensure that you're there for not just yourself and your cronies and your small group. You must be there for the people. Whatever actions you take, the decisions you make, the choices you make, the programs and initiatives that you roll out must be seen to serve the good of the majority of the people. Because analysts, political scientists and thinkers have come to tell us that, look, one of the reasons you find coups is when people are not satisfied, when people feel disconnected from the government of the day, when they feel
also.
Exactly, when they feel the government is not
doing its best.
Exactly, there's that one. You also mentioned those who may be disgruntled with the government. So
True.
When they are disgruntled, why are they disgruntled? Can we not have that conversation? Can we not say, yes, we hate the idea of a coup, no doubt about that, but why are people disgruntled? Because we see now, incidentally, and it has always been the case, that there are those who are now giving ethnic, religious coloration to this whole conversation. But like General Christopher Musa, retired, said, the Minister of Defense, this is not about religion or ethnicity.
No,
it is about our nationhood.
Yes.
Until we move away from religion, ethnicity, region, tribalism, language, you realize that we can't make progress as a people. I think we can learn a lot from countries like Rwanda, for example.
Yes, we can.
Look at what they did after the genocide.
Yes.
If some African countries, given what we know today, had suffered that same fate, we can't tell where they would be today. Maybe they would have been history. But Rwanda was able to turn the tide by saying that, look, we may have made a lot of mistakes. We may have even shot ourselves in the foot. But can we not at this point, take a deep breath and say, what do we do now?
Way forward.
Exactly, to fix whatever we have done. And 3 decades down the line, see where Rwanda is today.
Yes, of course. I completely agree. I think we should take a cue from Rwanda. It's very important. And then Nigerians, we should find the way forward. Like I said before, we have a lot that we're dealing with when it comes to issues of insecurity. Where we have now we're talking about farmers now, food, and of course that balance that needs to be there. Unemployment. We're not even looking at the employment sector. We have a lot that we're doing. Our grid is collapsing by the day. We do not,
you have to mention the grid.
I have to. There's electricity.
Twice already.
Electricity thrice now. So we have a lot that we're really dealing with when it comes to issues, and I don't think we're stable yet when it comes to electoral process. We still go back and forth when it comes. No man wants to agree that okay, fine, you've won, handshake, may the best man win. People still want to actually
that statesmanship.
Exactly. So we've not gone past that. We've not involved when it comes to electoral process. We've not involved when it comes to having that stability yet. That's That's why I said we have a lot that we're dealing with. And I don't think a coup will just make matters worse. And I think individuals should try and understand that. Don't add more coal to the fire. We'd have to try and dim it down. I think that's the best way forward. And that's the best way for a greater Nigeria, a greater nation.
Well, we have to be patriotic to that extent. We understand that President Bola Tinubu is back home now, and hopefully we'll continue to have these conversations as they touch on the very fabrics of our nationhood and those elements that bind us together as a people. We're taking a break. The rest of the conversation continues shortly. Stay with us. Up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
All right, let's further this conversation quickly, everyone. We're joined virtually from Abuja by Amara Chidema Ezediniru. She's a workforce optimization expert. Amara, good morning, and we appreciate you joining us on short notice.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Great. So this is a human angle conversation we are having. The rest is history, as they say. The deed is done. There's next to nothing we can do about it. But let's talk about some of the circumstances that usually lead to unfortunate incidents like this one?
Okay. One of the things I would say is that we sometimes forget to pay attention to details all the time. You know, paying attention to details is, if you ask me, it's something that should be part of every human being per time. Be aware of your environment. Be aware of what you have. Be aware of what should happen, you know. But a lot of times, because I don't want to say Nigerians, let me say that, you know, a lot of people are not excellent-minded. So when they get into a space, the first thing they are thinking is not excellence. The first thing they are thinking about is not, oh, should this be this way? How can this place be improved? The first thing they are thinking about is my stomach, money. How can I make money from here and all that, you know? And eventually there's a ripple effect. We have to start cultivating the culture of attention to details. You come into a space, you ask yourself, how should this be? Even the chair, how should it be arranged? You know, is this place clean enough? Are things where they are supposed to be? Who is managing this place? Just being conscious of that one and paying attention to details. Very important. You know, if you don't supervise a plumber, who will do your job shoddily. You don't supervise an electrician, he will mess up your walls trying to climb to fix your AC or your bulb or something. Once you don't directly supervise people in this climb, you are very, very certain of getting an output that is less than 20%.
All right, Amara, you know, some people would say that snakes in that sort of environment, when it comes to the house and all of that, that it's the job of the landlord to ensure that from time to time he fumigates the house. It's not the job of the tenant. What's your take on that when it comes to securing your environment, when it comes to fumigation, when it comes to all of these things encompassed from insecurity and all that, leading to deaths of individuals like this or this individual?
Thank you for this. My take is simple. You're the one occupying this space. Your landlord is not the one occupying this space. If something happens, it's not going to happen to your landlord. So it's on you to look at your space and see what's happening. Where can a snake or a scorpion or an ant, where is the likelihood that this thing can come out from? And if you can take the first defense approach, you know, protecting yourself, covering what you can cover. Some things are easier or cheaper to maintain, so do them. And then have conversations with your landlord. Some of us don't even bother. We will just wait until there is full dilapidation. Again, I would say you are the one in the space. You are the one exposing yourself to danger, not your landlord.
Exactly.
All right, I want to talk about issues that have to do with, I mean, you talked about excellence a while ago, which ordinarily should be a culture for individuals, corporate entities, and even communities. But let's talk about how that hygiene is a factor in all of this, because this last weekend, especially yesterday, Sunday, I personally read comments where people were saying that, look, the lady lived in a house that was a bit of a class, if you like, I mean, relatively speaking. How could a snake have found its way into such a compound? How do we unbundle such a conversation?
Well, with me, a snake can actually find itself into any compound. I've seen a snake in my compound before. Actually, I saw a dead snake. I think I have a pet, a cat. I'm sure it did justice to that snake. But I would say again, a snake can be anywhere in Nigeria because this is a climate that is conducive for them. The question is not how did a snake get in. The question is how can we take the less likelihood of a snake coming in. A snake can come through the soccerway. A snake can come through the window. It can, you know, roll itself somewhere in your boot or your shoe or somewhere. You never can tell. So what preventive measures are you taking over a period? If you go to a toilet in a big hotel, there's something they put by the door, like a checklist. They'll put something like when the time the place was cleaned, who cleaned it, what specific requirement was done, or something that needs to be replaced. You know, like a to-do checklist. How many of us have that where we are, in our offices, in our homes? No. It's only when things happen like this, we run around. I can bet you, give this news 2 weeks, everybody return to status quo. And part of the reason, if you ask me, will be the fact that we are busy chasing the food we will eat without caring about the environment. After you have eaten, what next? You know, so let me pause there for now and reiterate that we need to pay attention.
Right.
Need to pay attention. Thank you.
You know, Amara, I was speaking to my co-host this morning. I said, we just look at the fact that we pay so much attention when it comes to malaria, typhoid, but most hospitals or the society, we do not look in depth when it comes to minor, really not really minor, but issues like snake bites, scorpion bites, war gecko, the liquid and all of that. We do not really pay attention. There's no awareness that is done when it comes to this issue. The first precautionary measure to take when this sort of thing happens to individuals. People are not really in the know. Like, you know, the Abuja hospital has come out to say that she didn't die because there was no antivenom antidote. She died because it was a chronic neurotoxin exposure. That means when she was moving from one hospital to another, it must have gone all over her body, the poison causing this death. I think we have a lot to do when it comes to awareness of issues like this.
I beg to differ from that Abuja hospital, because everybody, like we all do in Nigeria, we defend a lot. Is there a primary health care closest to that girl, to that lady that died? Was there any information from that primary health care saying, if in case of emergencies like this, we are in this neighborhood and we are fully fortified as far as primary health care is concerned? How many hospitals in Abuja would give me a data of how many snake bites are reported in a week, in a month, in a year? Do they have the data? That's why it's easy for people to be ready for malaria, because that's the data. That's what they don't have the data, but that's the number of people. So out of 10 people that come to the hospital, most likely 7 will talk about malaria. You go to the hospital in Nigeria today. Okay, let me not say Nigeria. Let me say Abuja. That's where I live. The first thing the doctor is going to suspect is malaria, and it may or may not be. All right, so before the hospitals will start defending themselves, they should please look inwards. If that girl did not have some level of fame, I can promise you she will die and be buried, and nobody will hear of this. Can they give us the data of how many people die of any of these bites? And can they take us through their hospitals to see that, yes, we have antivenom, we have this, we have this, we have this. There are basic things that should be in the hospital. But you know what? If we don't have the data, we will tell ourselves, why are we investing money to buy antivenom when it's just one person? In the last 3 years, we have not given anybody antivenom. So let's buy malaria tablets, because that's what we've been spending money on. That's what happens in Nigeria. So what should be important, what we should pay attention to, we're not paying attention to. All right? And it takes me back to paying attention to details. We are used to defending. It's not me. Oh, it's not like that. Oh, it's not like that. We are used to manufacturing excuses. We thrive in it. We eat fat on excuses, right? No. We are supposed to be preventive. That's what we're supposed to be. Not wait, when it happens, then you start giving excuses and start defending yourself. That excuse is even making me, it's upsetting my thought process. But because we can do better than this, and we know it. How many let me ask you, do you know the primary health care closest to you? I'm not sure you do. How many people know the primary health care closest to them in Nigeria that you can rush to? Nobody asks you for money and give you treatment. When you are well, you can start talking about money. No. So, how can they come if you tell me it's neurotoxicity? Okay. What led to that? Could you have walked into a hospital and nobody and they get treatment first before consultations? So please, I would say it again. We need to start majoring on what is important. We will paint hospitals, paint primary health centers.
All right, let's quickly go on a very, very quick break now. And of course, we'll be joined by Amara Ezedinuru. Do not go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
All right, let's so Amara, I'm just going to maybe help us pivot this conversation slightly. There are people now saying that, look, what we probably need to now do is to minimize as much as possible our reliance on orthodox medication. I mean, we've been talking about hospitals, primary health care, and what have you. Instead, they're now recommending that we embrace fully the natural endowments that we've been blessed with. By that, they mean herbs and roots. Is that a timely conversation, or would you say time has already overtaken that sort of recommendation?
I would align with the people who are calling for the use of what is in our environment, what we can all assess. All right, but I would say it has to be controlled, except if it is something like there'll be no overdose. You know, if you take it, there'll be no side effect of overdose and all that. Otherwise, it has to be controlled. We will not eliminate the place of hospitals. The hospitals, the orthodox medicine, the unorthodox ones, all of them can be used. Everything can be used. The whole idea is let's save lives.
Right.
All right. So we can start having a campaign, having conversations around if you experience this, do this, have this in your house, have these 10 items in your house. If you live in this kind of environment where such and such that can easily happen, you need to have ABCD in your house, and this is how to use them. We have to do videos and circulate these things. You know, this is affordable, this is within your space and all of that. Otherwise, people may still not know. We have to have priority. We have to have value for life. We do not have value for life in this place. We have to have value for life. When we have value for life, we will understand that everything is linked together. The people who provide medical services, have they called off their strike? I don't remember. You know, they were on strike for a while. I don't know if they've called it.
Yes, they suspended the strike to create that window of opportunity to continue negotiation with the government.
How can we allow medical service practitioners go on strike? I mean, is health no longer wealth? You know, and it's made people to resort to self-medication. Pharmacists are busy prescribing and encouraging people to do self-medication. What is its impact on national health? All right, so after using what is available to us, because I believe that nature is fair. For every environment, it has given you what you need to survive. But it has to be controlled. I hope this helps.
All right.
You know what, Amara? Some people will say, aside all of this, I think most neighbors, there's nothing like neighborhoodness when everyone just wants to mind their own business. That if she had neighbors around who would have driven her to the hospital using all her strength to go from one hospital to another, she would have still been alive. What can you say about lessons that can be learned from this, about, you know, individuals in our society throwing empathy, sympathy in the wind and not caring about their neighbors and not being their neighbor's keeper, if I would say?
Well, I will not even think in that direction because honestly, we don't know whether neighbors are home or anything. And you know, when people are in certain situations, the way they've lived, you don't know how she has lived before now. You know, so I learned she called her brother. I would rather say, can the government not provide us with numbers that we can call, and before you drop the line, help is at your door? That's how it's done in some other, you know, countries.
Advanced countries, Amara. Nigeria, our grid is going off on the basics.
Exactly.
So helplines, I don't think that is. I don't see headway in that, really.
So if the government can't give us helplines, is it your neighbor? Do you pay tax to your neighbor? Why would you hold your neighbor responsible?
Exactly.
You know, so neighbors, I mean, if she reached out to them, it would have been nice. But right now, I can't even blame them. How nice if she did. And also, I can tell you that sometimes you could reach out and you may not get response. And she probably didn't think that, oh, this was a matter of life and death.
Exactly.
You know? So I think that we should have a situation where you dial a number, your primary health center would respond within 5-10 minutes. I mean, she took almost 2 hours going from one place to the other. That's enough time to get a response. You know, if we're people who are serious, sometimes they will tell you ambulance is not available. They will tell you the road is traffic. I mean, oh God, we are a people full of entities.
One of the things, Amara, that this very sad story has again highlighted is how we manage information. So much of fake news all over the place. For example, the Federal Medical Center, that is FMC in Jabi here in Abuja, says that once she showed up, she was given the basic treatment as quickly as possible. However, the hospital says that because she had suffered significant exposure to neurotoxin, it was impossible to get her back to life, because they said before she was confirmed dead, resuscitation had also been done for her. But what you see online is a bunch of people saying that the hospitals abandoned her, they turned her down, they did nothing about her, and things like that. What does this say about how we receive, manage, and of course propagate information?
Well, we already know that Nigerians, our information management skills it's quite appalling. We need to be educated, actually. But if the people who are supposed to give the right information don't give it, what happens? Everybody becomes their own journalist.
All right.
Therefore, we have to definitely find a way to be the first people that will give the narration, not social media, right? Because I mean, she died in a hospital. And I can tell you, if she was not popular, the hospital would not have spoken. And we would all we're used to creating our own stories and sympathizing with ourselves. Not a very good thing, I must say, because it's confusion, all right? I think we have to be a little more responsible as human beings. Again, it's neither here nor there. People are trying to be responsible, but their emotions overtakes them. Especially, you know, this is death. Somebody has died. Somebody is crying. Somebody is screaming. Oh, my sister. We don't have the full information, and all of that. I agree with being responsible with when it comes to information dissemination. But I also agree that our hospitals also have to be the first to quickly speak and say this is exactly what happened. Otherwise, they would have to be saddled with correcting the wrong message they have sent by their silence.
All right, we're going to leave it there now. It's a Monday. We understand you have quite a lot of things to attend to today. Amara Chidinma Ezediniru, workforce optimization expert, would like to say we're grateful for these valuable insights you have shared on the program.
Thank you so much, Amara. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's take a break now, everyone. When we return, we'll look at social media and how it drives information dissemination at, if you like, an overdrive. All of those and more after this break. Please stay with us. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
All right, now time to turn our attention to the powerful tools available on account of social media. We're seeing social media turn things around for people, small businesses, medium-scale businesses, even corporations now are leveraging the power of social media to drive their brands, as well as also spotlights the work they are doing by way of corporate social responsibility. As a matter of fact, it will appear in this day and age, you really can have news or reporting as we know it in journalism without the tools made available by social media. However, the bad news is we've also seen social media do a lot of damage to governments, to large corporations, to businesses, agencies,
Families.
institutions, families, and individuals. So how do we draw, if you like, an equilibrium or some sort of balance between both? Between, on the one hand, making the most of these tools, taking advantage of them to better our lives, to do our work better, while on the other hand, we also ensure that it doesn't become a double-edged sword that cuts on both sides in a way that is nasty. I'm saying this, Joma, because of this news of
Of course, yes.
how that we saw different versions of the story on social media. And in this day and age, because we have the news on our fingertips, I mean, people have devices of all kinds, access to the internet and things like that. Yeah. It's very easy to get blown away by emotion.
Yes, exactly. And, you know, like you say, social media has done a lot of, some will say a lot of harm than good when it comes to issues in our society. And that is why we should learn to differentiate between fake and real news.
Right.
It's very important that we understand that when you see a particular website or a particular post, you're able to differentiate, okay, is this real? Is this fake? Is this real? Is this, you have to know, because it will save you a lot. It's a damage. It could actually save a lot of issue and a lot of damage that can be caused by that. For as much as social media has come to stay, it means that the world is evolving. It means that a lot of people have gained when it comes to social media use. Businesses, your expertise are being seen when it comes to showcasing organizations, showcasing a lot when it comes to talents, by the way. But the thing is, you know, there's a way that it is being it manipulates the human mind. So at the same time, you have to be very cautious to create that balance and knowing for yourself what is accurate, what is false, and what is real. It's very important.
Very important, right. And again, you must find a way to separate your emotion from it. And let's be very clear, now that we are talking about what is known professionally as media convergence, that is the if you like, intersection between traditional media, radio, television, newspaper, and now social media, whether you're talking about X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and what have you. We must realize that the first thing is to authenticate the source of your story, all right? It's not just so much about what aligns with your emotions or what supports your preconceived ideas. You know, there's something called confirmation bias. So if you already think that Juma will wear a red, nice dress on a Monday, I mean, if that's your expectation by Sunday evening, you just want to hear other people around you say that, yes, I believe Juma will wear a red dress on Monday, because that's what you're thinking, all right? So even if you now see a story somewhere that says something to the contrary, that Juma is going to wear, let's say, a gold dress, or let's say a cream dress, you don't want to open your mind. You don't want to be dispassionate about that story, because you already have a mindset. I think that's what happens most times with social media.
Yes, exactly.
So if you don't like a particular government official, for example, every story, so to speak, against that individual is what you want to embrace. So you are not going to care much about whether it is authentic, whether it is verified or verifiable, because that's how, I mean, that's your outlook. I think that's the problem with social media. So people don't take the time to confirm. I like it when somebody calls you because you're in the media and they say, I saw this thing on Facebook and I thought I should run it by you and be sure.
Yes, I get that a lot.
Yeah, if you do that, it means that you're doing the right thing. Because one of the challenges we're going to be dealing with now and going forward will be a series of litigations where people will come for you because you have tarnished their image on account of your post. You know, one post, just one 6-line post, can change a lot about a human being.
Yes, it can.
Can damage one person. Yes.
A picture.
Without a text at all.
Without a text.
Just a picture. Right.
Yes, can misinform the general public. And of course, that could be defamation of a particular character.
Right.
Which, of course, litigation follows suit.
Exactly.
And it's just unfortunate that this is what it is. And that is why we must be able to differentiate, like you said. For as much as social media is there, it's caused a lot of awareness. It's caused a lot of, will I call it, there's a word I'm looking for now. It has
that has brought its own evolution.
But at the same time, there are challenges attached to social media. Right. Picture stories could be misleading. It could misinform. A simple text can actually mislead. It can misinform. A singular message or the way you coin a story. Right. There was one I saw. I think the Prince Harry or so. He did something. There was something he did with his hands, and what they did was he just removed some part and left his middle finger. And like he was doing the middle finger, he was actually bringing out his middle finger to the press, and that was not it. Right. So you have to learn to be aware. You have to be cautious of what you're doing, and you have to know, because some people immediately get a story, they run with it. They do not verify whether it's false, whether it's real. They just run with it, and it's just unfortunate. And mostly, the media fall prey to some of these issues, some that do not want to verify information before you let it all out there. So it's very important that you differentiate between fake and real. I keep emphasizing on that because it's very important, because social media can make the unbelievable believable in a sort of way, and you will believe, especially when you have that mindset, you have that prior knowledge of, okay, this is what's going to happen, but it could actually tweak the information, causing havoc and pain in that particular issue. You don't know what social media has done to families, marriages, that's actually broken homes. A simple picture story of a wife painting it as if she's in a compromised situation, or the spouse in a compromised situation, and it's not it. Maybe a hug or just a very, will I say, a very
casual,
or
an act that is even done in public.
An act that is even done in public, and it's painted in a sort of way, and the next thing you know, that family is distorted, and that family is broken forever. And it's just unfortunate that is what it has done. So we have to be very careful to actually read between the lines. And there are some ways in which you can actually know whether the information is false or is real. So we should read all about it. I think there should be an awareness for individuals to know, because it has caused a lot of issues. It has caused major issues.
It has, right. You know, we can't take away the fact that now that we live in an AI age, artificial intelligence age, some people don't even have to write stories anymore by themselves.
No, you don't.
All right. We even see some of our colleagues these days, they go for different engagements, beats and all of that. They just use AI to write up the stories.
Yes, they do.
While that may look smart, you realize that the human touch would have been out of it. And the angle may not be what it ought to be.
Very true.
Ultimately, and very importantly, what that does to you is it weakens your ability to write a story by yourself. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, we must also take responsibility for what we consume, right? And what we disseminate. Because, Juma, it's one thing for someone to put out a false information, put out a wrong story out there. I mean, somebody reads it and, well, just accepts it. The problem is, most people don't stop at accepting it. They take it one notch higher by making it go viral.
Yes.
They post, repost, like, comment, share. That's where the problem starts from, all right? So we must be responsible for that. And again, that has sparked the conversation around how can we regulate the social media?
Before we come to regulating the social media, talking about AI, which by the way has come to stay.
Right.
But at the same time, it limits you as a human being in the way you think. There's always that limitation. For as much as the world has evolved, AI has come to stay. It's not going anywhere.
You can't fight it.
You can't. No, don't even bother. You're not going to win. I'm trying to inculcate your breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Breakfast, lunch, yeah. It's a 3 square meal.
It's a 3 square meal. But at the same time, for as much as you want to use AI, impute something in there.
Right.
Let your input be amongst whatever this machine is giving you at the same time, so you can learn, so you can grow, is very important. But as much as it has come to say, it has come to evolve, you as an individual, you must come to evolve also. Because they said there are like 20 jobs that AI is going to take over. But so try and involve, try as much as possible to grow, try as much to make research, to read, so that you can still be value, you can still add value to whatever you're doing. Is very important. And how can we regulate this? I think there should be policy structures put in place for bridge of such information in the general public. And it's very important that you shouldn't just hear an information or a message and you run with it. You have to verify. There should be a portal where you can actually verify. Like, let's say now, something about our president, for instance, or the vice president or someone. There should be a portal that you can actually copy that, place it in. Is this message true? A verification online source or something. I think that's one way that we can regulate, so that when you put it out there, we'll be able to hold you accountable. Did you verify? There is a portal made available for you to verify, but you did not. So you will face the wrath of the law. Very important. I think such policies, regulations should be made. And of course, for individuals that want to deter on that, they should be held accountable and liable.
We're not so sure if we can regulate, in the real sense of that term, regulates the social media. But what we're seeing countries do lately, I mean, the last, 10, 15 years, is that they ban certain platforms. For example, 1 minute, it is China banning Facebook. The next minute, it is Iran banning YouTube. So we've seen that happen.
Yes, we have.
But the question is that regulatory? Is that far-reaching enough? Does that answer the question of how can we regulate social media? I'm not sure it does. But for AI, we must now begin to realize that there's something called ethical use of artificial intelligence, which means that while it is okay, it is free, it is open for you to use, you must be held liable for how you use AI. And then for those who are afraid, you might that AI will take over certain jobs, whether 20 or 50 or 100. I think going forward, because I listened to a very renowned blogger, content creator, who was at Davos recently for the World Bank, the World Economic Forum. He said he was asked that same question because he was able to speak at several events there. He was asked, what happens if AI were to take over your job? Because you are a podcaster, your thing, you do it on the social media and all that. He said, look, it's not about AI taking my job. Because when people have that conversation, they are looking at it from the standpoint of, how you do what you do.
Exactly.
For him, he says it's not about the method, it's about the reason I do what I do. So the reason you do what you do will naturally determine what methods you are going to evolve, what new approaches you are going to adopt going forward. I'll give you an example. So I grew up and I saw old photographs in our house. At the back you see Ever Ready. Ever Ready was the name of the photographer. I was a big guy in photography at the time. Some of these pictures were my mom, my dad, my older siblings from the 70s and what have you. And then I look over my shoulder today, I look at those pictures in my head, because I can't even find the pictures now. I compare them with recent photographs. The difference is like between Sokoto and Lagos. That's number one. Number two is more important, because I did a bit of photography growing up. I realized that there were photographers that were big in their own era. Today, they are no more. In fact, the last 10, 15 years, they've been no more. Not because they died, but their businesses did. That's one category. Now, the good news is there's another category of some of those men who were futuristic enough to know that, look, this analog photography that we're doing now, as great and amazing as it is today, will not always be like this in the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So what did they do? They brought their young children, who were the Gen Zs at the time, into the business. So after school, they'll come to daddy's studio. So they learned the job the manual way. But they were able to marry that with technology going forward. So today, those are the guys who are running digital photography, taken over from their father. So what they've done is not only to transfer the skills to the next generation, they've been able to do succession for their businesses. So what are we talking about? The AI thing. So you may be in your 60s, in your 70s, you don't know anything about AI, but you must realize that your children must be empowered to take over from where you're living off. We had a governor in my state and a final note who came and said, look, we're tired of all of this manual system of things. Yes, in the civil service. Can we not automate? Can we not bring in technology to drive what we do, become more efficient, become more productive and all of that? And he achieved that. Even those who don't like him say he did achieve that much. But can we sustain that through this generation to the next one? That's where we are today. So I don't think we should have sleepless nights over AI. The question should be, are we evolving with the time? I grew up to know how you can go to post office, buy stamp.
Really?
Yes, I met that. I did that. My mom used to give me some cash to go do that myself. Right. I've been here for a while, right?
You have.
Sure.
Okay.
But the point I make on all of this is today, I don't even know the procedure to buy a stamp at the post office. Because for many years, I've been using email. And most of those things, virtually all of those things you used to go do at the post office, you can now do them via email, apart from the heavy stuff you had to maybe send as parcels and all that. But for the letters and stuff, even documents with letterhead and what have you, you can do all of those via email. So it is how we think that will drive the process, not about the fear of AI taking away your job.
Yes, and I like the fact that you said let's try and marry both together. It will really come a long way when it comes to digital, when it comes to manual. It's better you marry both of them. There's something about complementing both of them together, and it goes a long way. And I like the fact that those in their 70s actually bring their younger kids. Okay, come and learn what I am doing, and bring.
Let's do a transition.
Let's do a transition. You bring in what you have learned from know the Gen Z, or is it Gen X, Gen Alpha people. And then let me bring what I know, old school. Let's marry it and bring something
and move forward.
So that so we can actually evolve with this new change that has come. It's very important.
It is.
I could completely support that 100%. It will go a long way.
Right. Okay, let's stretch this a little further, everyone. When we return, so much to talk about on the show here, we encourage you to stay with us. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
All right, so a lot has been happening in the political space the last couple of days, especially with the defection of Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano State. We understand that, well, with that defection, the leader of the Kwankwasia movement, of course, by extension, the leader of the New Nigeria People's Party, a former governor of Kano State himself, talking about Engineer Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, is now believed to be considering some sort of alliance with Peter Obi, which means that if that is anything to go by, there's a chance both gentlemen want to use the ADC, that is the African Democratic Congress, as a special purpose vehicle to achieve their goal. Now, those who are speculating this are saying that the idea is for Peter Obi to be the, well, presidential candidate, while Engineer Kwankwaso will be his running mate, even though we know even before now, Engineer Kwankwaso had said he would not stoop so low as to becoming a running mate to Peter Obi, because according to him, he's more experienced than Mr. Obi in terms of public leadership. But again, that has spiked a different angle to the conversation, because we're hearing now that Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president, whom many believe is the de facto leader of the ADC, is now considering moving to the ADP, and ADP in this case is the Action Democratic Party, which means there's a lot of reset happening. But it appears that the concern is many governors have decamped to the APC.
Yes, they have.
So the opposition front, whether it's the ADC or the Labour Party, is now asking, what can we do to give us some sort of competitive advantage? Because in Nigeria, like you have in many other places, the more the merrier. Numbers matter for elections. And in the case of Nigeria in particular, governors are powerful in deciding who wins an election, even though we know, yes, there are a few instances where you can say, well, that may not be the case. But the more governors you have as a sitting president, the more likely you are to win a second term.
Well, with all of this, it shows that all is not well with the ADC at this point. If the former vice president, Abubakar, is decamping to
or considering
it, it shows that all is not well. Like we mentioned, when we had that guest that came the other day, we said, "Hey, looking at this carefully, what do you think is happening?" Because he says, "I'm not going in as second a running mate. I'm going for the presidential ticket." So it shows that all is not well. But at the same time, this is politics, and you know how politicians, they say, cannot be trusted. So that means,
or at least it cannot be predicted.
You cannot. I prefer using the word cannot be trusted. Predicted, yes, but trusted is the word. So we understand that we see through you. We understand that sometimes it's not for our best interest. It's all about you and
your own ambition.
It's your own ambition. That is it. So we understand and we know very much now. We're awake and we understand how this game is being played. You might think we do not, but we do. So at the same time, I just hope that these political parties have all it takes. For me, as a Nigerian, I love Nigeria. I do not care who is on the presidential seat. I don't care whether you're Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba. I don't care. For me, just as long as the basics are being done, it's for the interest of Nigeria and Nigerians, carrying everyone along peacefully, and all of these issues in which we're facing will be doused down. I have no problem with who becomes president. Just may the best man win. Put your best foot forward and we'll vote for you. So at the same time, but political parties need to get their act together, because if their acts are not brought together, how can you rule a nation like Nigeria, for instance? If your house is just like someone now wants to come out and say, I want to be president, and your home is in disarray. Hello?
How do you intend to achieve that?
How do you intend to achieve that? That small cycle, your home, and then you want to lead a bigger cycle like the nation, Nigeria. Oh, come on now. So it takes a lot of individuals that have what it takes, and of course the party needs to be put together in order for one to move forward.
I can imagine, but again, I think we talked about numbers a while ago.
Yes, we
did. How
that
the more the merrier for politicians in particular.
Yes, we did.
Now the NNPP is such that Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano State is no longer a member of it. So again, there are those who now say, well, our loyalty is with our leader, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, and as such, wherever he goes, we go. To that extent, it is natural to expect that if, with a big if again, he moves to the ADC, this base of his political base, that is, will move with him. If that happens, it further strengthens the numerical base of the ADC, which again is a good number for them. And then the Peter Obi factor, of course, he has the Obedient Movement. That's another strong and big base coming from 2022 into 2023. That's the calculation. But the former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, scored several millions of votes in 2023. So the ADC might be concerned that if a man like this leaves our fold and goes to the ADP or anywhere else for that matter, it will further deplete our numerical strength. That in itself is a concern, which could be a win for the APC as it stands right now. But I think I want to talk about the PDP for a second too. We understand the PDP is stepping up its unity drive. Alliance talks ahead of 2027 polls. The PDP, before now, Joma, you and I know, was the leading opposition party, having lost the presidency in 2015. But today, it is not even regarded as such. It is the ADC that everybody is turning to, because some of the big wigs in the PDP have defected to the APC. If you look at the PDP today, I mean, is there hope? Is there hope? And of course, is there anything to write home about? Right. And people now use illustrations like the spirit that is, you know, I can't get enough of that. The spirit that is, don't bring the spirit of PDP to APC, our own party. It's just yes, of course, PDP was one of the parties, the ruling parties in Nigeria, and we know that we had some very big wigs there. But at the same time, that's what this is. When there are so many disagreements, when there are so many individuals who feel that they should be in charge, this sort of things happen. There's always disarray. Right. So it's just, but hopefully, with our guest that came in, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, says, hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel with the PDP. Let's just hope and see. Okay, this is politics, and these are political parties. They have a lot underneath their sleeves. We just have to sit back and watch and see where it tilts to, and let's just hope for the greater good, basically. You know why the PDP case is interesting is the fact that, I mean, if you fast forward to just last week, you realize that a court has said that, look, the convention that the party held in Oyo State, Ibadan, is null and void. So the court has effectively invalidated that convention. As it stands right now, the aces are with the Wike-led faction of the party, as against the Turaki-led faction of the party. And we know what the good book says about the house divided against itself. If you say you are reconciling, first of all, who is moving this reconciliation? Who is making that move? Number one, that's number one. Number two is, who are you reconciling? Is it the Wike faction that is moving to reconcile with the Turaki-led faction? Or is it the other way around? In any case, what do you do about some of the very influential clouds following members of the party who have already joined? Exactly. Loyalists as well, who have joined the ADC. Can you also reconcile with them enough to bring them back into the fold? Again, election is close. I mean, 2027, so you don't have much of time. What is the game plan? Are you going to, as it were, fuse into other parties, or, if you like, merge with other parties? Are you going to reinvent yourself somehow? So the questions for the PDP are very much, time will fail us to run through all of them. That's what we're leaving the program today, everyone. As always, we're grateful for your time with us here on Global Morning. Just to also remind you that the views of our guests and all of our programs, including here, are their opinions. I'm Uyi Agmofwegwe. And I am Jumai Manson. Thank you all so much for being a part of the program. And of course, what Uyi and I will say, bye-bye.